Coming up on this episode of Weekly Word.
If God has given you a talent, a task, who are you to override God and say, nah? Nine of Pentacles, achievement, success. But this is more so talking about the internal workings. How do we feel that we offer value to ourselves, to our family, and to the world? The third deacon of Virgo, which is the Ten of Pentacles, something complete, something that you can hold tangibly, that you can see and feel tangibly. Hello everyone, this is Ashley. This is the Weekly Word. Whenever you're catching this message is for you. It's a timeless message from the Divine Spirit. So let's see what the Divine Spirit has to say. So I already have some notes already, but you already know, for those that are used to my content, that I will channel singular messages in the moment. So let me see where I'm supposed to start. So we already have a progression of energy here where we stepped out of the new moon in Virgo, which is the Eight of Pentacles energy, and that was us putting in the effort, working on our craftsmanship surrounding something in our lives. This could be a project, this could be even just a relationship, or just working on ourselves, especially with that Virgo energy. Now, the Sabian symbol that we have as I'm recording this is the 19th through 20th degree of Virgo, and that is the Queen of Pentacles. I also have it in this other deck, the Queen of Pentacles. So with that Queen of Pentacles energy, we have with one card, the Lord of Material Gain, gaining something. I hear gaining access to some type of information that is life-changing, that will lead to the Ten of Pentacles, which is happening later on this month on the 20th of September. And with that energy, that is coming through the third deacon of Virgo, which is the Ten of Pentacles, something complete, something that you can hold tangibly, that you can see and feel tangibly because of the work that you put in before. So this is a building of energy. So that's the reason why it's timeless, because whatever period you are in your life, that you're still working on something, regardless if it's subconscious or consciously. So I feel like for some that this has been something consciously that you have been working on, something that you have really had your eye on. So let me go to my notes, because I have quite a bit of notes. With the Sabian symbol at the 19th and 20th degree of Virgo, it's an automobile caravan. And this is working in unison towards a collective goal. As we are in this air energy overall, as we have cycles within cycles and energy build upon energy, that what the Divine Spirit is really saying, that we have to work on our internal workings in order to expand outwardly. Moving on throughout my notes here, we all are in this together, the collective healing. Virgo rules the digestive system. This is us processing information and processing things, and I hear bits of our lives. So taking little bits, little clips of our lives and really pulling them up with this Virgo eye, this Virgo energy, and going throughout those bits of our lives, those little fragments of our lives that we probably have buried within ourselves, buried within our subconscious mind, that are still operating in the background. So think about a program on a computer that's continuously running in the background. So that is us running on autopilot, or automatically making assumptions or decisions based on past programming. So that's what the Spirit is saying, that we have to go through and allow this new information to digest through our system, so we can make new habits and new decisions. So that those new habits and those new decisions will help us as a collective. So you can't just do things on your own, as we are part of a bigger body that's going to span out. And this message is going to span out to a couple scriptures that I have. So I was really focusing on the body of Christ. So first of all, Christ is the higher consciousness. It's a frequency, it's a mind state. We want to have the mind of Christ. So with that mind of Christ, and Christ being at the head, think about a body, the head, the arms, the ligaments, the muscles, the joints, the feet. All of those work in unison for a better good, for the good of the whole body. So if one is making a decision to cut off the hand that's working against the body. So this could be in a family unit where it's one person that's working against the family unit that's not in unison with the rest of the family or with the rest of the collective body. This could be a part of the collective or a part of a organization, a part of a collective that's working against the other part, almost like a parasite or a bacteria that lives in the gut that's working against the digestive system and working against the entire body as a whole. One message that came to me before I started with the cards, the tarot, etc., was the church dismantled. So the church is a body. A church is not necessarily a place. So in the Old Testament, it was a temple. It was a tabernacle. It was a synagogue where people would physically go to give their requests, their prayer requests to the high priest. So the high priest will be considered the Christ consciousness, the Christ, the identity of Christ, the head, the Holy of Holies, which would be in the body, which will be the third eye. Taking it into the Holy of Holies, putting that request, planting that seed into the subconscious mind. So there's many ways of how to break down messages, especially messages in the Bible. So the body is also the astrological body, the 12 signs of the houses, which equals the human body, that also equals the 12 zodiac signs, that also equals the 12 aspects of within ourselves. So you can always gain information from all of this. All of it works in tandem. So with that, when a person would take their prayer requests into the high priest will go into the Holy of Holies, aka the subconscious mind, plant that seed, so therefore it can manifest into the physical. So with this dismantling of the church, how people would put their trust into an establishment. I sort of mentioned this last week about how eventually what's going to happen is that humanity will no longer need government. They will no longer need establishments. They will recognize the God within them, which we are our own temple. We are our own church, that we will realize our own internal power. Through the God within me working, I'm allowing the God within me to work and to help me. I don't have to look outside of myself for help, for guidance. It's all within me. My intuition, my inner tuition, my energy, all works within me. So with this, the church being dismantled is saying that the physical reality is being dismantled, as the church represents a house, and the second letter in the Hebrew alphabet is bet, which is the house. We start with Aleph, which is A, the self, which could be also known as Aries in the zodiac. Starting with the self, the head. What I think of, I create. I live it out in my body, which would be the second house, Taurus. And the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet is bet, a house, a tent, a tabernacle. Okay? So our bodies, our physical bodies are sacred. They do house the spirit. It's a vehicle for the spirit, but it's not the end all be all. And our spirit is what's more important. So the head, the mind, the spirit, the first house is more important and more important. Who am I? I'm not my physical body. I am my consciousness. I am my spirit. So that's a reminder, and further out, even more so, that the world, the carnal mind, the second house is like our value, our worth. What do we find valuable? What is worthy of our spirit? What is worthy of our energy, our time? And that is being reevaluated. What do we find sacred? So a church is supposed to be something sacred. Our bodies are supposed to be something sacred. So what do we find sacred in our lives? That's what we need to evaluate right now. We need to evaluate what is sacred to us. What are we willing to put our time, our effort, our craftsmanship into? Expanding out further to the world, we cannot put our trust into the world. As the world is shifting, it's changing, literally, as we are moving out of a lot of this earthy type of energy into the air energy. Once again, going back into the head space. Aries deals with the head, okay? It may deal more so with the skull, but what is encased in the skull? It's our mind, our consciousness, our thought patterns, all of that. All right, let me go back to my notes. With this Nine of Pentacles that comes from, I can't remember the deck, the Hermetic Tarot deck, I believe so. We have here the symbol of Venus, and Venus in the sign of Virgo. So Venus actually was in the sign of Libra until yesterday, which was September 10th, from when I'm recording this. But it moved into the sign of Scorpio, and Scorpio is a deep, I hear, erotic energy. It can be a little erotic, but it can be also obsessive, but it's also dealing with the occult, the hidden. So going into that hidden space, what do we really find valuable? What do we find, where do we find our passions? This is deep, real connections. No dancing around what we truly desire. It's time to get down to what we really truly desire and really live that out. So breaking this down, as we had, like I was saying before, the new moon in the sign of Virgo, with the Eight of Pentacles, skills, talents, commitment. What are we committing our time and our energy to? What do we need to work on a second time around? As over the next couple of months, that whatever we've been focusing on during this new moon, it will come back around for us to reevaluate. Now we are in the second decan of Virgo, the Nine of Pentacles, achievement, success. But this is more so talking about the internal workings. How do we feel that we offer value to ourselves, to our family, and to the world? What do we find sacred? What do we find valuable? Do I feel that? If I feel that, I feel successful, I am successful. And lastly, moving to the third decan of Virgo, which will be the full moon in the sign of Pisces. This is fulfillment. This is legacy. What are we working on? What are we setting our attentions on? Eight of Pentacles. What do we find valuable? How do we feel about it? And what legacy are we leaving behind out of those, the combination of those two? What are we passing down throughout the generations? This is generational wealth, but what wealth are we offering? What do we find valuable enough to invest in to build that legacy? And this is the time to really focus on that, as the world is shifting and changing so much. Literally the physical world is shifting. The atmosphere in the world is shifting from the external coming down into the internal. So with the external, this is talking about on a cosmic level, the world is shifting, it's turning. In an astrological sense, it's shifting and it's turning. And internally within the world, it's shifting and turning. The world, the earth, is moaning and groaning because it's birthing something new. So our legacy is very important. I hear hand-me-down. So a lot of this ancestor energy has been coming through since the new moon in Leo, I believe it was, where the divine feminine ancestors really wanted to step forward and speak and pour into what they did physically, hard work, pour into their ancestors now, well, their predecessors now, you now. They have something to pour down inside of you. Are you ready to accept it? Are you ready to carry on the family legacy? And I'm not talking about money or jobs or something like that. I'm talking about the real valuables, the real goods. As people would focus on the external of a church, like a church body, how many members do you have? What are you doing in the community? How much revenue, tithes, offering do you receive from your members, etc.? How far is your outreach? How big is your building? How big is your tabernacle? How does your tabernacle look? Your church look? This is also talking about the physical body. What shape is your body in? How does your body look? Are you sexy? Are you hot? All of that is external, but it's more so talking about the inner workings. How does that church really operate? How does the members, how connected are they? How are your members of your body connected? Is your digestive system good? Is your heart good? Is your mind good? Are you passing down generational health problems, generational self-sabotaging behaviors and thought patterns? What is the legacy? Some people may say that in their family, the health problems like heart disease, depression, may be a hand-me-down trait. But on a spiritual level, the things passed down, spirits, aka energies, aka thought forms, passed down from generation to generation. That was a person's legacy. And people will say, well, it's inevitable, I'm prone to depression. But really it's a spiritual thing, an energetic thing. You can transmute it, you can cast down those energies, those spirits, and transmute them and make them into a positive. That's what alchemy is. So it really caused me to think about that when people ask about, or when doctors will ask about, what's your family history? They're asking about all these physical traits, but really they're spiritual traits. Really they're energetic traits that can be transmuted in the spiritual realms, in the energetic space, in the subconscious mind. Now, I'm not saying for anybody to quit any medications, etc. But this is the thing I also tell my clients, especially those that deal with herbs, that want to work with herbs and natural healing, is that in antiquity, ancient times, when a person would come to a witch doctor or a spiritual doctor, an alchemist, whatever you want to name it, a healer, that the person would ask under what moon were they born under. And then they would ask them about the symptoms. And then they would come, they would pray about it, go to their angels, to their guides, and they would know what herbs to use, because each herb is associated with an astrological movement, a celestial movement, an angel, and they would tell them what angel to work with, and they would work with that angel on their behalf, and they would give them a mixture of herbs that were set under a certain moon and sun energy. Fast forward to modern day times, initial word of a medicine, you have a Greek word that's long. It's like, why is aspirin called XYZ, like a word that contains 26 characters? It's because if you go to the root word, it's associated with the angel and it's associated with astrological movement. So with that being said, fast forward to nowadays, that when we ingest different medications, we're really ingesting the essence, the spirit that astro carries. Angel, astro, all of it is interchangeable. So what spirits are you putting into your body? Everything can be captivated under the divine authority if we really take our power and utilize it properly. It wasn't uncommon for people to know about their astrological movements in their birth chart. It wasn't called a birth chart then. You know, you just had an elder that would say, that would know all of their family members when they were born, under what star, under what moon they were born, so they know how to work with them, know how to work in unison, know how to move this caravan forward, because they were all working in unison. They really understood in the inner workings of a person, of their family member, and they would know how to diagnose them, because all of that stuff does really work in tandem. Virgo is a healer, a holistic healer. It's the hermit, the hermeticist. So this could be a cause for someone to really get into holistic healing. I'm gonna pull a couple cards. I decided to come out today because I haven't been outside in a while to really film like how I used to do. Look, as I said, the hermeticist, the hermit. This card flew out along with this card. And here we have the Seven of Swords. I hear crystal clarity. Someone's leaving. I hear hodgepodge behind. A lot of unnecessary baggage behind. with the Hermeticists, they're going within. This is their time to shine. This is their time to really go within and rewire their inner workings, especially in the digestive system. Someone could have I hear urinary tract infection or something of that nature. Someone could, and this is from if you're watching this in the future, the last message that I did, the last weekly word that I did, actually the one before that, my bad. Okay, where it was someone that was a little too friendly. You get what I'm saying? And down under, as we're dealing with around in that region, like moving down in that region, it could have been something dealing with the stomach. Maybe they had to take an antibiotic or something. This could even be moving further down in the region, if you know what I'm saying, that they needed some healing. But really, that was just an expression of a spirit that was already operating within them. As everything is energetic, and spirits are different types of densities of energy. And different densities of energies are different reflections of light. So it's all tied together, from the astros to the celestials to our physical selves, as we are all made of light in different reflections and emanations of light, which are different angles, which are different angels. Okay, so finding out your moon sign and finding out the ruling angel of that moon sign and working with them to really start this journey, starting the journey of the Hermeticist, the natural healer, the spiritual healer too. This card always reminds me, not necessarily from this specific deck, but any deck really, always reminds me of the Magus Moses, and how he would go up on the mountain, the higher regions of the mind, go on the mountain of Sinai and tap into his inner higher self. He is known to have seen God from the back. And going up on the higher mountain is the Penal. And the Penal is also mentioned in Jacob's ladder, where he named that specific location Penal or Peniel. So going to that higher mountain place, a lot of things happen on the higher realms, the transfiguration in the New Testament of Christ. Okay, going to those higher regions of the mind. The inner courts that most people can't reach. If someone is having some type of struggle in the family, this could be, I hear diabetes, it could also be like physical people back and forth, arguments and stuff. And it could even be with family that go to the higher place, have a higher perspective, and see how it's like when you go to the higher perspective, you can see inside of a situation things that you couldn't see before because you were trapped inside of that situation. And that's where God wants to take you. That's where angels want to have you peer down into the situation, almost like looking down into a volcano and seeing what's coming up. So something is coming up. It could be a debate of some sort, but you're going to have foresight. For whoever this resonates with, you're going to have foresight of how to handle that situation if you are able to go to that higher place. And when people say take the higher road, it doesn't mean being like looking down on a person in that sense. It's more so talking about, well, from what I understand it to be, allowing yourself to take the higher spiritual road. Because every situation is going to be different. Everybody's perception is going to be different, and every way of how to handle that situation is going to be different. This is another place on the higher realms, in the higher spaces. I hear spaces specifically. Someone can be multidimensional, going through different planes. This is the gateway. This message came through, oh gosh, I think it was last year, I believe it was, where the wise men, the elders, and some women were elders too, would sit at the gate of the city, and that's where they would reside, and they would meet there at the gates of the city, where they would watch people go to and fro. And this is make a reference to people that are able to watch and stand back and see the rotation of energy from the past, present, and future. They're multidimensional. They're able to see things, once again, on a higher plane. When you're on a mountaintop, literally it seems like you're on a different realm altogether. You can see the eagle's eye. You can see how a person may start off right here, end up right there, that finishes right there. And you can see the projection of how that energy is flowing. This could also be dream state, receiving downloads in the dream space. So I'm going to pull a couple other cards. I'm trying to see if I have any other notes. The reformation of the church. So with dismantling, think about a machine that's being taken apart. That worked for a little while, but needed to be taken apart. This could even be an engine that someone is rebuilding that engine. And that engine is what propels and drives and operates the entire vehicle. This is what the world is, what's happening in the world. Like, the world is being dismantled. Our realities are being dismantled. Some, once again, this same message about a divide and a collective. Some want to hold on to the old paradigm, and others are ready to move into that new paradigm. Some are waiting at the gate to see what happens. And this dismantling is happening to bring in something new, to build something new. So they're using the same parts, but building something new. So when that machine is taken apart and it's rebuilt, that it's going to last longer and be better and more conducive for the world, literally the earth, our earth, the earth that we're made out of, and our children's children, and further on into the future. It spans out. Okay, I turned it the wrong way. Here we have abundance, an attitude of gratitude, alignment with spirit, and I am affirmations will help you to attract abundance in all ways. So remember, I was saying you have to feel it. You have to feel it. It's not about doing just the tangible work, but feel it. You can say I am affirmations all day, but if you don't feel it, it's redundant. You can literally go out and do something physically, but if you don't feel it, it's sort of kind of worthless. This is talking about passion. That's another thing I've been talking about. What is the soul? The soul is S-O-L. The S-O-U-L is the S-O-L, which is the sun, and the sun is ruled by Leo, which is the center, our heart, our passion, what really drives us. And that's what the divine spirit wants you to have, something that is the desires of your own heart. And I'm talking about your higher heart. Once again, a higher plane, higher heart. Not based on the fleshly, carnal desires. It's based on the higher desires. The higher desires, you will have that. You have to feel it. You have to see it and feel it, and you will have it. It's not just a dimension. It's like you will be able to tap into, well, first you want to tap into that dimension, and therefore you will physically start to live out that dimension, that abundance. And these are from my Soul Sisters deck, which will be listed down below. Okay. I'm going to pull from my deck. All right. Hopefully by the top of the year, these will be restocked. Okay. Let's see. 10-10, the shift, like I was saying. I've been talking about the shift for a couple years. And God's chosen ones. That initially was going to be my message today. I was going to really dive into who are the chosen ones. I'm debating if I should say something. I'm going to do a little paraphrase here, the chosen ones. So it's not a select people. It's not a bloodline. It's a frequency, like I was saying with the Christ frequency. It's a frequency, it's an understanding, it's a label, it's a seal. Revelations talk about a seal, the seal of Christ. That means you have the mindset, that means you have the God perspective. For the chosen ones are those that have been sent here to help humanity, regardless of what age group, what nationality, what religion, to help them reach this Christ mindset, to reach this frequency in the physical. It's obtainable to everyone. So it's not, you know, how it can be described or explained if you talk to religious groups. This is beyond religion. And that's what I'm saying too with the 1010, how it's been coming through, where we're moving out of the priesthood into a new priesthood. So before, it was only a select that held priesthood, and that priesthood represents power and represents a title. But now we're moving into a new priesthood where everyone, the people are their own priests, their own healers, their own authorities, their own figures that they look up to their selves for guidance, and that's their higher selves. And that guidance comes from the higher realms, and they'll be able to channel it for themselves. They will no longer need an authority above them, and that's what's happening. Once again, like, my messages sometimes last for a couple years. Sometimes it comes through as something immediate, and it may be something that spans out over a couple of years. We have here 5, grace and mercy. That's talking about that attitude of gratitude, that frequency of gratitude, really being grateful. And when I look down with the Hermit card, humble. You know, humble. That's what the sheep represents. Christ is both the wolf and the sheep, the lion and the sheep, either or. Wolf and lion in this instance are sort of interchangeable. And the sheep is humble, willing to bow down, willing to wash others' feet. Peter, in the New Testament, Christ went to go wash Peter's feet, which is very symbolic. He was humbling himself to wash his feet. That means, like, it was like a form of initiation. But Peter was like, oh, no, 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 no. He thought his opinion to be better than Christ's opinion. That was still a form of arrogance, okay? And Christ, in this story, was anointing him, was preparing him for the priesthood. So taking a fisherman, Pisces, washing the feet, Pisces, anointing him, Pisces is the priesthood, for priesthood. Peter is also known as the rock of the church. Again, a reference to a church, to a temple, building something new. So who is above God? The all. If God is giving you a talent, a task, who are you to override God and say, nah, you know, be humble, be grateful. That feels good. And then I have 3 through 3, sacred love. And lastly, okay, yeah. All right, so I'm not gonna pull too many more cards. Okay, 0. Service and reciprocity. 0 is a full loop. It comes back around. As you give, you will receive. Double, triple, 10 times fold. And pick God first. That starting point when you go to do a 0 is God first. And it will circle all the way back around. And it will continue to give back to you. That dot also represents you, the God in you. Always will be given back around. Always comes back around. Always comes back around. Always comes back around. And these are the last 2 here, where we have the feminine warrior and Mary Magdalene, another misunderstood archetype, energy, person. You may have been misunderstood, misrepresented. I even hear held back, held down. Don't let that deter you. This also could be someone that has a label that people have put on them because of people's carnal mind and their limited understanding, trying to be judgmental to make themselves feel better about their insufficiencies and their lack. Rise above that. Take the God perspective, okay? Because you're stepping into a great reward of abundance. Okay. All right, the payout, number 9. You're stepping into that great reward from obedience and sacrifice and service that you have been given, that you're stepping into the payout. Here we have 9, then we have 10 of Pentacles, and then we have 10, the shift. And on one side, as we have the 8 of Pentacles with 110, like putting your full work and effort into something and not really seeing the tangible results of that. Even hearing I even hear backlash, people giving you backlash. On the other side, we have the other 10, reciprocity and payout. Payout in abundance. I hear spring. So that could be a time that may be important to someone. That could be a time that this manifests to the full potential. Or that could just be a bounce back. You know, you put something out there, it bounces back. Like you're in the season of bounce back. Which you have already put out there is bouncing back to you. But it's bouncing back to you tenfold. For some, 5-fold. But for others, it's tenfold. For others, doublefold. So it's according to the level of faith, faithfulness, and trust in the divine spirit. Has nothing to do with how much. There's plenty of instances where people would give in the biblical text, old and new, and they would do these sacraments and rituals and give out of the human carnal understanding, like, oh, I gave so much. I gave thousands and thousands, the equivalent of modern day times now, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. Of course I'm going to be blessed. Of course God looks at me and says, dag, that is my chosen one. And if you know the story of where these rich individuals gave like all this money in the synagogue and people were just astounded, like, oh, wow. And Christ looked right straight through that situation and seeing the widow, I believe she was a widow or an old lady, I know that for sure, gave a penny, gave the last that she had. She gave all that she could. And Christ said, that's a blessed one. That's a chosen one. That's a chosen one right there. And so for those that have been sacrificing, have been giving, but not giving out of human understanding or giving out of, let me see what I can get in return. They were giving because their heart was really in it to win it. Meaning that their heart was that of service. Where'd that card go? Service. Their heart was really about service. And they will receive tenfold. I even hear 100-fold of what they put out, because they really gave. The Hermit, they really gave from the heart. Stop my alarm. As the 222 alarm on my clock on my phone went off, and that's all about abundance and stuff. Those were people that may have been with me for a while that may understand about 222 energy. Okay, I cut the deck while that car was passing by. 444, the right path. You're on the right path. Blessings and freedom. You are healed for whoever that was with the Hermit card and the 7 of Swords. You are here, healed. And lastly, all things work out. All things work out. Romans 8:28. For those that love God, the Most High, the All, and are called according to the purpose, the chosen ones, those ones that have been giving, and not giving out of desperation, not giving out of what they can receive, but giving because they really had a true heart for something. This is also talking about relationships, being balanced in relationships and being able to relate one's honesty, I hear, and one's trust, being able to offer that up, and you will get that in return because the heart is pure. The heart is not held back and tied up and bound in human reason. Yeah, so I believe that is all. Thank you so much for staying with me. Once again, you can find all the links to the decks, to services, to our membership, to anything down below. And I thank you so much for staying to the very end and commenting on the videos and sharing the videos. It is very much appreciated. I really do love this work, and yeah, I feel really good about it. Material gain. You will see something in the tangible. I heard this week, and that's for someone, they will hear something either from a person, or either they will hear some news or get some news about something in the physical, something material, something that you have been praying and hoping, I even hear wishing for. So like the video, subscribe if you have not subscribed as of yet. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can receive notifications when we post new information. Check the community tab. You can also find us on Instagram. You can read the blog at fd1111ministries.org, and 11 has a dash in between. So until next time, I will catch you guys on the next weekly word. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Ashley, and I love you guys very much. Many blessings. Peace. Or peace like that.